Going into the 2022 World Cup, as is the case with any World Cup, there were, of course, more attention spans on a few superstars, few legends of the game. So we thought, why not talk about how they have fared in the competition so far? And by we, I mean my colleague and our eyes and ears at Qatar 2022, Sandip Gopal. Hello, Sandeep. Welcome.
Hi.
You have been watching the action unfold in Qatar. You've been watching quite a few teams take on each other, quite a few matches. It's been a hectic schedule, but you have, of course, had your eyes on those big players, those big names, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the good thing is that all of them are in one way or the other at the forefront. Of all them, I feel Kylian Mbappé has looked the sharpest, slickest, and of course, he's the youngest as well. He's a beast, and the way he runs through, the way he just outmuscles the defense, his markers. His vision, everything is a complete package, and he's just 23. And and he would be France's protagonist throughout the tournament. It will take a really good defense to stop him.
It definitely seemed like they had a problem when Karim Benzema was ruled out. Pogba wasn't there, Kante wasn't there, the tanks of French midfield. But looking at Mbappe's performance, even in that game against Australia, of course, he scored 2 goals against Denmark, but even in that game against Australia, seemed like really the creative outlet you want to back on. And I think, after there was a point in the match where after he scored 2 of his goals against Denmark, he just went for the third from a little wayward position. And one of the French players who was at the center of the goal sort of gave him that shoulder up reaction. But, it just goes to show that France do have this superstar who, when in his top-notch form, is the player they want to count on in terms of taking chances. The midfield kept feeding him the ball. The left wing back kept feeding him the ball. And, just seems like the player, when you need a goal, you want to pass the ball to him.
Absolutely. He's somebody. He's he's a classical striker plus a center forward kind of a player. In Italy they call it the 9.5. So he's that kind of a player. He can create and he can score. He has a kind of a playmaking abilities as well as a striking abilities. Maybe as the best player they ever had since Thierry Henry.
Yeah, that's a pretty big compliment, and might as well fit the bill.
But might as well emerge as a better player than him as well, a greater player than him as well.
Oh yeah. Winning 2 World Cup titles will surely help in that debate. But let's move forward in that discussion and talk about a couple of captains who are, of course, big names and have showed up at this World Cup. Lionel Messi, let's start with him. Scored the first goal for Argentina at this World Cup. Looked in a position as though he may score another. Argentina looked in a position as though they may score another. But then Saudi Arabia happened. They won that match 2-1. And then against Mexico, found a way to score again. Has been good in individual sense, but does this seem like a team, or does his performance seem like one that can take Argentina along?
Argentina needs a lot of. Messi especially needs a lot of support from his other players as well. He's in immense form. He's really motivated, really pumped up, and he always has been. But never has he shown that. That he's never been the most expressive kind of a guy. But this World Cup, he has been really on it. He that he wants that. He craves for that one last World Cup win. He's desperate for that. It's. So motivated, man. I've never seen him so motivated, and he's in great touch also. Just need a bit of help from his teammates to take a little bit of his burden away from. Immense burden away from him. A little bit of that will unlock a sharper Messi. I feel. Messi unburdened is a Messi. Is a different force altogether.
Definitely. And doesn't seem to be at that age that you can count on him making all those runs that he did from the right wing and, score those kind of goals. But even then, is just finding those individual moments, which is quite crucial for Argentina. Yeah. Another player who is a little older than Messi, I'm sure he wouldn't want to hear this, but has gone into this World Cup, scored a goal and almost scored another in that second match. We are, of course, talking Cristiano Ronaldo. Always seems like a leader position, complete contrasting personalities, him and Messi, and always likes to be at the center of the action, always wants to have that responsibility to just have a go at the goal. How has he been, in your opinion, in this tournament so far?
He's been usual self. I mean, like opportunistic, kind of always in the game. You know, he always wants to score goals. I mean, yeah. I mean, you must have seen that celebration after he scored the Bruno Fernandes goal. So I mean, he's always there. But the thing is, Portugal is not as dependent on Ronaldo as Argentina is dependent on Messi. I mean, actually, Portugal play much better football when he's actually not there. You know, there's slicker, faster, very modern kind of a game. I mean, Ronaldo slows Portugal down a bit, and I mean, especially he sort of a little bit stifles Yao Felix's creative prowess also. I mean, which is he's a terrifically talented player. But yeah, and then sometimes you need a leader like Ronaldo also on the pitch. You know, when nothing is working, then you're absolutely down on the dumps. You need his energy and his kind of motivation. He'll find a goal. Somehow he'll find a goal. So and in a World Cup you need those goals. I mean, where you don't have time to recover, especially from pre-quarterfinals. I mean, you have a bad game, you go back home. So in those moments, I think Ronaldo's experience, his expertise, and his sheer will be very crucial for Portugal.
And sheer will is something that Neymar has also shown in his journey with Brazil at this tournament. In his first World Cup in 2014 was, of course, the poster boy of the competition in Brazil itself. 2018 seemed like, he found that space of his own, moved from Barcelona to Paris by that time, going into that competition. 2022, even before the tournament build-up sort of began in September, October, he did look in good shape with PSG in that league season early on. But then, of course, has hit a roadblock in that injury that happened in the first match. But apart from that, how did he look in that first update for Brazil?
Yeah, he was looking gorgeous in the first half. Like, I mean, he was making all those movements. He was very fine-tuned, polished performance from him. But unfortunately, again, he's injured. And like, I mean, and I don't know, that will be a heartbreak for him if he can't play maybe quarterfinals, semi-finals. Like, I mean, that will be, let's say, I mean, Brazil is hoping that he can recover. And but though, for all the talent Brazil have, this is sometimes miss Neymar. I mean, his vision they miss actually. Like these days, he plays a bit deeper than he usually does, and there's actually no one to fill in that role. I mean, they tried putting Paqueta up, but I think Paqueta is not on that level. I mean, and that's the reason why he played another defensive midfielder also. Like, I mean, he played Fred also. Like, they needed that defensive cushion against Switzerland. So, structurally also, his absence brings a little bit of a problem for Brazil. And of course, as a personality, you miss Neymar. The sheer aura of Neymar. Even when you look at it from the opposition perspective, oh, this team doesn't have a Neymar, so I mean, they'll also have that psychological relief, sort of. So so that they didn't plan for Neymar. So all those things actually will be interesting to see how it unfolds.
Yeah, and of course, he's just the kind of player who can play in multiple positions. Even though Vinicius Junior is there on the left flank, Neymar is, of course, someone who can make that overlapping run on times when the occasion demands, and of course, is there as a central figure in the team already. But let's move on to another captain, the player who found a way to score his first World Cup goal at this tournament, Robert Lewandowski. Had a penalty against Mexico saved by Guillermo Ochoa, and did seem like that point where he must have been just asking himself, why am I not getting a World Cup goal? And that elation that you saw, that almost sort of catharsis that you saw when he scored that goal in the second match against Saudi Arabia. Of course, we'll go up against Lionel Messi's Argentina in that last match. Do you see Poland progressing? And if so, do you see Lewandowski sort of switching gear now that pressure of scoring that first World Cup goal is almost gone?
I think Yeah, but still he needs good service from his teammates. Like that's a big thing with Lewandowski. That's why he's so successful in club football, because he gets a service wherever he plays. I mean, back in the days, Borussia Dortmund days, Bayern Munich days, Barcelona days, he gets a service. He gets a service. I mean, he's an exceptional finisher, as we all know. But I mean, Poland team, he doesn't have that kind of a service. That's the biggest. I mean, that's why I think he took so long to score a World Cup goal. Maybe, but the yeah. I mean, against any opposition, if he gets a chance, he's to score. It doesn't matter how good a backline you have. He'll find a way. Uh, but against Argentina, it looks a little tricky. I mean, with the kind of um, resources they have. Mm,
Well, it
Lewandowski.
sure won't hurt both Messi and Lewandowski progressing through, but seems to not be the valid case, or seems to not be the most likely case going forward. But one thing that you can have written and possibly deposited in the bank is that whatever happens next in the competition, and whichever stars emerge in the competition, we'll be here to talk about them at the Indian Express. Thank you so much, Sandip, for joining us.